Hey, what's up, Super Dad? So I'm here with a great, very easy recipe to get a high quality carb source that's also got a bit of protein and a lot of fiber in it. It's not one that your kids are likely to really dig on, but it does stay in the refrigerator for quite a while. So if you struggle with meal prep or those sorts of things, you don't have time during the week, this is a great option. And it's what it is: quinoa tabbouleh. Those are two weird words for some people, less so for others, but in Japan it's not all that common to have quinoa or to eat tabbouleh, so just to clarify. So quinoa is a grain. It's pretty common, I suppose, in the United States at this point. You can get it anywhere, though, as far as I know. And, I got this from Amazon. It's not that expensive. You get a big bag, and it stays good for basically forever in storage. It's considered a superfood by some people. Pretty high in protein, pretty high in fiber. As I said before, it's carbohydrates, but you do need to get carbohydrates if you're trying to build muscle. It's pretty important to have those. And obviously for energy source as well. Okay, it's also got a ton of vitamins and minerals, all sorts of good stuff in there. All right, now, the only other things you're gonna need to make this are a bunch of vegetables. So you can see here, I just chopped up a bunch of vegetables. Parsley is an important ingredient here. So normally I don't use a lot of parsley, but I do for this. We got cucumber, carrots, onions, tomatoes, and then raisins, also an important part. Now, if you hate raisins, don't use raisins, but they're an important part of the recipe for me. They really give it something special. If you also have something like chickpeas, you want to add some more protein to it. Chickpeas are a little bit harder to get here, a little bit more expensive, so this time I'm going to make them without. Okay, so that's what you need. Then the other thing you need is half a cup of lemon juice and half a cup of olive oil. Okay, so I just put them in here together, so it makes 1 cup when combined. Then what you're going to do is you're going to cook up 1 cup of quinoa. Okay, so 1 cup of quinoa, dry quinoa, plus 1.5 cups of water. They just go in the same pot. Bring it to a boil, cover it, turn down the heat, simmer it for 15 minutes, turn off the heat, let it sit for 5 more minutes, okay? Then it's gonna look something like this. Okay, I fluffed it up when I turned off the heat, I fluffed it up so it looks a little bit better than if I just had let it sit there. But as soon as that 5-minute cool down process is done, all you're gonna do is take your vegetables, all the stuff you're going to throw in there, and I encourage you to experiment, come up with your own version that incorporates vegetables you like, or removes the ones that you don't. Then you're going to grab your salt and pepper. Okay. Sodium is also important for performance, for neurotransmitters, for all sorts of things. So if you don't get a lot of sodium because you don't eat a lot of processed foods, that's a good thing that you don't eat a lot of processed foods, but you might need a little bit more sodium in your diet. And then black pepper, because you like a little bit of a kick to it. Now, you could probably put some other stuff in there. You could put in paprika if you wanted to, cumin, whatever spices you want to incorporate into your diet. You might do it for health reasons, you might do it for taste reasons, you might do it for both, but I'll leave that up to you. This garbage can is pretty annoyingly noisy, isn't it? Okay, then all I'm going to do is take my olive oil lemon mixture here and pour it over the top. Real simple. Everything's in the same pot now. Just give it a good stir. Make sure you get something close to even distribution. Coat everything in that lemon and olive oil mixture that you just poured in. And once you got it all mixed up like that, all you're going to do is cover it up and let it sit for about an hour. Okay, let it sit for about an hour. Once you do that, throw it in a Tupperware container, put it in your refrigerator, cool it down, and it'll stay good for, I've eaten it up to a week later. But depending on how fresh your vegetables are, that might not be a great idea. It also tends to get a little bit like goopy. You can still eat it. It's not going to be bad for you necessarily. But I would recommend trying to put it down in about, half a week or 4 or 5 days, maybe 5 days. Good thing to aim for. But still, you make that on a Sunday night. You got a really, really healthy carb and vegetable source packed with vitamins and minerals. Actually, decent protein for a carb source. Not a whole lot of fat that's unhealthy for you. In fact, none of it. Just fat from the olive oil, which is good. It's really good for you. So super, super meal. And then all you need to do when it comes to be dinner time or lunchtime or whatever it is just have a quick protein source, grab a chicken breast or something like that, throw some spices on it, cook it up, combine it with the quinoa, and you are set. You got a really balanced meal. You've engaged in plate building, and it hasn't taken a whole lot of time or thought or energy.